let's talk about the agenda for just a moment. The first thing we're going to cover is common challenges utilities face with maintaining assets, in this case, specifically steel tanks, overcoming challenges associated with it, and achieving long-term success by maintaining your tank in a like new condition over an extended period of time. And then at the very end, we'll talk about some key takeaways and then answer your questions as well. So, common challenges. One of the most common approaches to maintenance that I've experienced in 38 years and the last 9 years with USG Water is a run to failure model. It's probably the most common method of maintaining or lack of maintaining your infrastructure. Minimal, if any inspections, work or maintenance is done on the asset, isn't done on the asset until it breaks down. It's part of the run to failure. The risk is placed fully on the owner for any issues with the asset. Some of the things you'll see out in the field is tanks like this, elevated storage tanks, ground storage tanks, in some cases concrete storage tanks, underground, semi-underground, above ground, but not maintaining any of those substrates, be it steel, concrete, or elevated or ground storage, is just it's our mission to failure. So real quick, we're going to do a quick survey here, a poll question of um, what's currently causing your most stress regarding maintaining those assets. If you all wouldn't mind taking a moment to plug in your answers there, and then we're going to get into the meat of the issue. Okay, very well. So we had some conversations among ourselves, Apoorv and I and Deirdre, going into this, and we were leaning strongly into aging infrastructure being one of the causes. And aging infrastructure is not necessarily that bad as long as it's maintained. It can be older, but if it's maintained, it's not really that much of a stressor. And then, of course, budget constraints. We all have all lived in that world, right? So overcoming those same challenges, the first step to overcome the common challenges is to inspect your asset, inspect the infrastructure. In this case, we're talking about tanks, but that could be anything. It could be your metering system, just a lot of different things, your treatment plant, the concrete coating systems, et cetera. So there's 5 different types of inspections that we would start with in maintaining an asset. As a visual inspection is the most common type of inspection. Second will be a drone inspection, which has become very, very useful for elevated storage tanks and from a safety standpoint and otherwise. Remote operated vehicles, and we use that term for, it's basically a drone, but it's an underwater drone. I'm at our service center in Ontario, California. I was speaking to one of our managers here, and we've just ordered our first underwater drone that has the ability to vacuum debris out of the water storage tanks. And then dive inspections is probably the underwater version that you can use to vacuum and clean the inside of the tank without draining it, which is now kind of moving into the robotic version. And then, of course, a washout inspection. And some washout inspections will rise to the level of a chemical clean, depending on the staining or whatever might be inside the asset. So with the visual inspection is exactly what it sounds like. It's taking an experienced person with inspection experience, maybe a NACE 1, 2, or 3 certified inspector, and doing a visual assessment of the tank. You'll write a report on that. And one of the reasons that we like to go through this type of presentation is if you're bringing in an outside party to do those inspections, through this experience what they should be looking for. And if they miss something, so usually in many cases, you're paying for that inspection. You want